Hello everyone, my name is Aastha. I welcome you all to our classes for International English Olympiad for class 9th. This is our 21st class and herein we will be doing the topic of voices. For voices we will be understanding active voice and passive voice, both of which are very important in their conversion as well. So for that we will be doing various rules which have to be understood by you in order to understand the concept completely. Alright, so let's get started.
Okay, so what is voice of a verb? Now the first question is what is voice of a verb? तो voice से क्या होता है? Voice expresses whether the subject in the sentence has performed or received the action. Now this might sound a little confusing to you. Let me repeat and let me explain it to you. Voice क्या करती है? Voice का एक काम है बस. Voice हमें ये बताती है whether the subject जो है sentence में जो भी subject है वो इन दोनों में से कौन सी चीज कर रहा है, या तो वो action perform कर रहा है या वो action receive कर रहा है. तो voice हमें किसके बारे में बताते हैं? Subject के बारे में. Either the subject is performing the action or the subject has received the action, and the voice tells us exactly that. Alright, so let's see the examples here. Now here, watchman opens door. Watchman opens door. So subject क्या है यहाँ पे? Subject is watchman. Okay. So यहाँ पे watchman क्या कर रहा है? Watchman is opening the door, which means the watchman is performing the action. What is he doing? He is performing. Here, don't mind my handwriting. I'm writing with the laptop pen. Sorry. Yeah. So watchman opens door, which means he is performing the action. क्या action? Door को open कर रहा है कौन? Watchman. Next sentence you see, the door is opened by the watchman. Now here, यहाँ पे जो subject हमारा watchman, यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? Watchman जो है वो action receive कर रहा है, which means the door is being opened by the watchman. So यहाँ पे जो हमारा watchman है ना वो बन गया receiver. पहले था performing, now he is receiving. Okay. So voice है, voice में हम अलग अलग पढ़ेंगे अब active and passive, but आपको पहले ये समझ लेना है कि voice हमें क्या purpose यहाँ पे क्या है. यही बताना कि जो सब्जेक्ट है सेंटेंस में वो एक्शन को परफॉर्म कर रहा है या रिसीव कर रहा है. दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द बेसिक आइडिया. ऑलराइट, लेट्स मूव ऑन. Okay, so as I told you, we are going to be studying two broad forms. One is going to be the active voice and other is going to be the passive voice. इसमें से एक हमें बताएगी कि the subject is performing the action, the other one will tell us that the subject is receiving the action. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here we have the active voice. Now, active voice में क्या हो रहा है? When an action expressed by the verb is performed by the subject, it is an active voice. क्या बोला था मैंने आपको कि इसमें से हमें एक voice बताएगी कि action जो है वो perform हो रहा है किससे? Subject से. तो subject जब action perform कर रहा है, it becomes the active voice. मतलब जब subject हमारा active है, मतलब active कैसे है कि वो खुद ही action perform कर रहा है, तो वो हो गई active voice. So active voice is used when more straightforward relation and clarity is required between the subject and verb. मतलब active voice हम use करते हैं जब हमें straightforward sentence relations बताने हैं, एक subject और verb में clarity चाहिए. All right. Now you will see these are pretty straightforward sentences. Passive voice कुछ लोगों को काफी confusing भी लगती है. But let me tell you, there's nothing to be confused about. Active and passive voice are pretty simple, pretty easy if you understand the basic concept. Basic concept क्या है हमारा कि एक subject है, सब्जेक्ट या तो एक्शन परफॉर्म करेगा या रिसीव करेगा. अगर सब्जेक्ट एक्शन परफॉर्म कर रहा है तो एक्टिव वॉइस हो गई, और पैसिव वॉइस क्या होगी वो हम अभी आगे देखेंगे. फॉर द टाइम बीइंग, active voice के example you see here. Hen lays eggs, birds build nests. These are मैंने बहुत ही simple examples लिए हैं आपके लिए. Hens lay eggs. क्या है यहाँ पे subject? Hens. यहाँ पे second sentence में subject? Birds. What are they doing? Hens are doing the action of laying eggs. What are birds doing? Birds are doing the action of building nests. Pretty easy, right? So these become active voices. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो subject है वो active है. How? Because the subject is performing these actions. All right, that's for the active voice. Now passive voice. The second category is the passive voice. Passive voice में क्या होता है? When the action expressed by the verb is received by the subject. जो action है, जो verb हमें बताता है action, verb क्या होता है? Verb जो word है which tells us the action. So whatever the action जो perform हो रहा है या express हुआ है verb की वजह से, जो receive अगर subject कर रहा है तो क्या हो गया ये? Passive voice. So when is passive voice used? Passive voice is used when the doer of the action is not known and the focus of the sentence is on the action and on the subject. Okay, let's read it slowly. Passive voice is used when the doer is not known and the focus किस पे है? Focus is on the action. Focus हम यहाँ पे action पे कर रहे हैं, not the subject. ठीक है, क्योंकि subject जो है यहाँ पे receive करेगा action. Okay. Let's see here in the examples. Eggs are laid by hens. तो यहाँ पे हम focus किस पे कर रहे हैं? Laying of eggs पे, कि eggs are laid. और by कौन? Hens. तो ये hens जो हमारा subject है, what are they doing? They are receiving the action which is eggs are laid. Okay. Similarly, nests are built. This is an action. Who is performing this action? Birds. So what are the birds doing? They are performing the action. Sorry. They are receiving the action. Performing the action होता तो active voice हो जाता. So here, eggs are laid by hens, passive voice. Nests are built by birds, passive voice. Hens and birds जो हमारा subject है, what are they doing? They are receiving the action. All right. That is for the basic meaning of voice and active voice and passive voice. I hope you have understood. Okay, so now we have these rules. अब हमें active voice और passive voice ऐसे directly तो हो सकता है पूछें ना पूछें, but important इसमें क्या है? Active to passive voice rules for conversion of sentence. मतलब अगर हमें किसी सेंटेंस को एक्टिव से पैसिव में या पैसिव से एक्टिव में चेंज करना है तो हम कैसे करेंगे? उसके लिए हम सर्टेन रूल्स फॉलो करेंगे. ओके, दीज आर प्रिटी सिंपल. यू डोंट हैव टू बी स्कैर्ड कि रूल्स बता रहे हैं एंड वी हैव टू मेमोराइज देम. देयर इज नो सच थिंग. एक बस बेसिक आइडिया के लिए मैंने रूल फॉर्मेट में आपको दिया है ताकि आपको बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो. देयर इज नथिंग टू बी स्कैर्ड अबाउट. ओके, इट्स गोइंग टू बी वेरी इजी. It's going to be a piece of cake. Let's see. First rule is identify the subject plus verb plus object. Okay. So subject, verb and object को हमें identify करना है in the active sentence to convert to the passive voice. पहले identify करना है. मतलब हमें पता होना चाहिए कि subject क्या है, verb क्या है, object क्या है. Subject यहाँ पे क्या है? The main idea, the main focus. He drives car. Verb तो हमें पता है. Verb क्या बताता है हमें? Verb is the word that tells us about the action. So क्या action हो रहा है यहाँ पे? Driving हो रही है, drives. So verb हो गया. और car किस पे action हो रहा है? Object पे. Object क्या है हमारा? Car. Okay, pretty easy. अपने sentence में हमको बस subject और verb और object identify करना है. Rule 1 हो गया. Step 1 हमारी complete. ठीक है. Second step, rule 2. Interchange the object and subject with each other. क्या होता है कि object of the active sentence becomes the subject of the passive sentence. कि एक सेंटेंस का जो पहले सेंटेंस में सब्जेक्ट था वो पैसिव वॉइस में जाके ना ऑब्जेक्ट बन जाता है, और जो पहले सेंटेंस में ऑब्जेक्ट था वो सब्जेक्ट बन जाता है. लेट मी टेल यू दिस वे. वेट. नाउ दिस इज द फर्स्ट सेंटेंस. ये एक्टिव सेंटेंस है और ये पैसिव सेंटेंस है. तो यहाँ पे जो सब्जेक्ट है हमारा, ठीक है, यहाँ पे जो सब्जेक्ट है ये यहाँ पे जाके ऑब्जेक्ट बन जाता है, और यहाँ पे जो हमारा ऑब्जेक्ट है एक्टिव सेंटेंस एक्टिव वॉइस में वो बन जाता है वहां पे जाके हमारा सब्जेक्ट. ऑलराइट, लेट्स सी हाउ. जैसे एक्टिव वॉइस में है शी निट्स स्वेटर. ओके, यहाँ पे सब्जेक्ट क्या है? शी, फोकस है. एक्शन क्या हो रहा है वर्ब के हिसाब से? निट. और ऑब्जेक्ट किस पे एक्शन हो रहा है? स्वेटर पे. तो स्वेटर हो गया ऑब्जेक्ट. ठीक है, अब इसे हमें पैसिव वॉइस में चेंज करना है. फर्स्ट स्टेप कर ली हमने, आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया. सेकेंड स्टेप में द स्वेटर इज निटेड बाय हर. तो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? स्वेटर आ गया. स्वेटर जो है वो क्या बन गया? वो बन गया हमारा सब्जेक्ट. फिर निटेड वर्ब तो सेम रहेगा पर बाय हर. हियर बाय हर हैज बिकम द ऑब्जेक्ट. तो यहाँ पे फोकस किस पे शिफ्ट हो गया है? फोकस शिफ्ट हो गया स्वेटर पे, कि हम स्वेटर के बारे में बता रहे हैं. एक्टिव वॉइस में हम बता रहे थे शी के बारे में कि व्हाट डज शी डू, व्हाट डज शी निट. शी निट्स स्वेटर. बट यहाँ पे पैसिव वॉइस में हमारा फोकस आ गया स्वेटर पे कि स्वेटर इज निटेड बाय हूम? द स्वेटर इज निटेड बाय हर. तो यहाँ फोकस जिस पे आ गया वो बन गया हमारा सब्जेक्ट. सब्जेक्ट बन गया ऑब्जेक्ट और ऑब्जेक्ट बन गया सब्जेक्ट. ऑलराइट, दिस वाज द सेकंड रूल. Okay, so in passive voice, sometimes the subject is not used. Why is it not used? Subject in passive voice can be omitted. मतलब उसे छोड़ सकते हैं if the sentence without it gives enough meaning. Okay, अगर sentence enough है तो हमें जरूरी नहीं है कि हमें subject हमें include करना ही करना है. Alright, this is another rule which you can keep in your mind. Let's move on. Okay, so here now we have the next category of rules. Here it says okay, so here rule 4 says change the base verb in active sentence into the past participle. This is a very important rule. You star mark this slide. Change the base verb in the active sentence into the past participle. मतलब third form of the verb in passive sentence, and it has to be preceded by या with या to. So any of these words ये आएंगे. And base verbs are never used in passive voice sentences. इसमें हम क्या कह रहे हैं? इसमें क्या होगा? जो base verb है ना active sentence में वो change हो जाएगा in the past participle, which is the third form verb in the passive sentence. ठीक है, पास्ट पार्टिसिपल में चेंज हो जाएगा और एक वर्ड और ऐड हो जाएगा इसमें से, बाय, विद, टू. इनमें से कोई भी एज पर द सिचुएशन. ये हमें समझ आ जाएगा. अभी देखते हैं. एक्टिव वॉइस में अगर हम कह रहे हैं शी प्रिपेयर्स डिनर, तो इसको हमने पैसिव वॉइस में चेंज करने के लिए हमने कर तो दिया, इसका सब्जेक्ट को ऑब्जेक्ट बना दिया, ऑब्जेक्ट को सब्जेक्ट बना दिया, पर जो वर्ब है ना प्रिपेयर्स, ये भी हो जाएगा पास्ट पार्टिसिपल. क्या हुआ इसका पास्ट पार्टिसिपल? The dinner is prepared by her. Okay. Next example. Here it says she know him. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It should be she knows him. Okay. Passive voice में change हो जाएगा. He is known to her. यहाँ पे क्या आ गया? To आ गया, और जो verb है वो past participle हो गया, knows का known. All right. Similarly, active, juice fills the jar. So इसका passive voice में the jar is filled with juice. Juice से jar भर गया, so the jar is filled with juice. All right. So here subject, verb and object, तीन चीजें हैं. Active, passive में चेंज करने के लिए पहले तो हम सब्जेक्ट वर्ब ऑब्जेक्ट आइडेंटिफाई हो गया, फिर यहाँ पे क्या है, पास्ट पार्टिसिपल जो चेंज हो रहा है, मतलब जो वर्ब चेंज हो रहा है इनटू द पास्ट पार्टिसिपल. ओके, द बेस वर्ब जो भी एक्टिव से पैसिव में हम जब चेंज कर रहे हैं. ऑल राइट. Okay, now another one. Here, while conversion of active voice sentence to passive voice sentence, the pronoun used in the sentence also changes in the following manner. जो pronouns है, pronouns भी change होंगे because as per the situation, मतलब हम जब examples देखेंगे, जब questions करेंगे तो आपको ये ज़्यादा clearly समझ आएगा. But आपको बस एक ये चीज़ देखनी है कि active pronoun changes into the passive pronoun. अब एक्चुअली ये करना हम ये भी कर रहे हैं, उसके बाद वी विल डू क्वेश्चंस आल्सो. तो क्वेश्चंस के बाद आपको थोड़ी क्लैरिटी मिल जाएगी. आफ्टर दैट यू रीड दीज रूल्स अगेन, तो आपको ना और अच्छे से समझ आएंगे. ओके, सो आई चेंजेस टू मी, वी चेंजेस टू अस, ही चेंजेस टू हिम, शी चेंजेस टू हर, दे चेंज टू देम, यू चेंजेस टू यू, यू स्टेज यू, इट स्टेज इट. ऑलराइट. Okay, so another rule, use the suitable helping or auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verbs क्या होते हैं? The helping verbs. So use the suitable verb. The rules for using auxiliary verbs in passive voice sentences are different for each tense. जैसे the letter is written by her. यहाँ we using is. Auxiliary verb क्या है? Is. A book was not bought by her. तो was auxiliary verb है यहाँ पे. Chocolates are being eaten by them. अब इसके एक्टिव वॉइस, एक्टिव सेंटेंस सपोज ये था, लेटर इज रिटन बाय हर, तो she writes a letter, she writes the letter, she is writing the letter. ओके, तो उसका she is writing the letter नहीं होगा क्योंकि यहाँ पे कंटिन्यूस नहीं है. she writes the letter, तो इसका हो गया the letter is written by her. So is, was, are being, all these are auxiliary helping verbs which are being added as per the demand of the sentence. All right. All right. So here what do we have? We have forms of the active and passive voice for all tenses. कि tenses में कैसे कैसे conversion होता है, ये आपको और clarity मिलेगी. यहाँ पे हम examples ले रहे हैं. Okay. Like here we are starting with the simple present tense. Simple present tense active sentences हैं, passive में कैसे लिखेंगे? हमने कैसे पढ़ा था? Past participle में convert होगा. तो यहाँ पे notes पढ़ लेते हैं कि except certain exemptions, कोई भी no passive voice formation for the following tenses can be formed. Present perfect continuous tense, past perfect continuous tense, future perfect continuous tense और future continuous tense. तो इनके लिए पैसिव वॉइस फॉर्मेशन नहीं हो सकती एक्सेप्ट फॉर सर्टेन एग्जाम्पशंस. कोई ना कोई एग्जाम्पशंस मिल ही जाएंगे. ऑलराइट, बट हियर लेट्स फोकस ऑन सिंपल प्रेजेंट. सिंपल प्रेजेंट टेंस, एक्टिव सेंटेंस एंड पैसिव सेंटेंस. ठीक है, हियर एग्जाम्पल, ही राइट्स एन एसे एंड पैसिव इसको कैसे? सब्जेक्ट वर्ब, हियर सब्जेक्ट वर्ब एंड ऑब्जेक्ट. सब्जेक्ट को ऑब्जेक्ट बनाया, ऑब्जेक्ट को सब्जेक्ट बनाया. एन एसे इज रिटन बाय हिम. यहाँ पे देखो क्या आ गया? ऑक्सिलरी वर्ब भी आ गया. हमारा जो ये हेल्पिंग प्रेपोजिशन आनी थी वो भी आ गई. ठीक है, वर्ब जो है पास्ट पार्टिसिपल में चेंज भी हो गया. ही राइट्स एन एसे इज रिटन बाय हिम. ऑलराइट, देन शीना डज द हाउसवर्क. द हाउसवर्क इज डन बाय शीना. She cares for the rabbit. Now the rabbit is being cared for by her. Jacob always plays the guitar. The guitar is always played by Jacob. Subject को हमने object बनाया, object को हमने subject बनाया. Auxiliary verb add हुआ. Then this is helping preposition like by, with, whom, which is added, and past participle. Alright, this is pretty easy. आपको देखने में लग रहा होगा काफी सारे रूल्स हैं, बट एक बार यू गेट द हैंग ऑफ इट ना, प्रैक्टिस करोगे तो आपको ये सोचने की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी कि ठीक है सब्जेक्ट को ऑब्जेक्ट बनाया नहीं बनाया, फिर past participle, वो आपको naturally आने लग जाएगा. All you need is practice. After all, practice makes a man perfect. Alright, so now the next one is present continuous tense. Present continuous tense, let's see, examples are like here. They are eating bananas, the bananas are being eaten by them. And Bob is drawing a diagram, the diagram is being drawn by Bob. Samta is playing the piano is being played by Samta. She is waiting for Rima. Present continuous है ना, is waiting, change हो गया किसमें, Rima बन गई जो हमारा object था, Rima became the subject and she आप देख लो, she जो pronoun है, it is also being changed into her. Similarly, first example में भी they जो है, it became what, them. मैंने बोला था ना, examples पढ़ेंगे तो आप देखोगे अपने आप कैसे change हो रहा है, तो ये pronouns भी change हो रहे हैं. All right. So Rima is being waited by her. क्या क्या हो रहा है, subject object में बदल गया, object subject में बदल गया, verb का past participle हो गया, auxiliary verb भी आ गया, pronoun भी change हो गया. Alright, now are you remembering all those rules that were being taught right now? Okay, now we move on to the simple past tense. Herein, you see, Ria paid the bills. The bills were paid by Ria. Simple past है, past participle हो गया. The teacher called the student. The student was called by the teacher. She did not buy the fruits. The fruits were not bought by her. So you see, subject, verb and object की agreement समझी. Subject को object में बदला, object को subject में बदला. Verb जो है हमने उसका past participle में कर दिया, ठीक है. फिर हमने auxiliary verb भी add कर दिया जहाँ जहाँ चाहिए था. फिर हमारा ये words like by, with, to जो as per situation वो भी add कर दिया. All right. Okay, so here we have past continuous tense. Let's see how it is being changed. They are waiting for him. He was being waited by them. Right. Aastha was learning French. French was being learned by Aastha. And she was playing kabaddi. The kabaddi was being played by her. She got converted to her. Okay. So, relate these with the rules जो हमने पढ़े हैं. Subject, verb, subject and object, the pronouns, the auxiliary verbs. That's how you will learn and you won't really have to memorize them. आपको ऐसे याद ही रखना पड़ेगा. All this will start coming naturally to you once you start practicing. Alright, so the next one is past perfect tense. Now past perfect tense, let's see how this one changes. Examples, 2 examples. She won the match. This one, it's converted to the match had been won by her. I had finished her work. Then her work had been finished by me. You see, I was changed to me. Right? He had missed the last metro. The last metro had been missed by him. Okay? This is past perfect tense. I hope you are relating these with the rules. Subject and object, object and subject, auxiliary verbs, the pronouns. Right? ऐसे आप rules आप यहाँ देखोगे सारे rules follow हो रहे हैं. Okay? Okay, so here this one says, this one is simple future tense. Simple future tense, how will it change? Changing to the past participle. Let's see. He will write a letter. A letter will be written by him. Okay. He will repair her cycle. Her cycle will be repaired by him. He shall start the meeting. The meeting will be started by him. All right. So this is for the simple future. Okay, now we have future perfect tense. See, Meena will not have to change the bed sheet. The bed sheet will not have been changed by Meena. Okay, I'm sorry, this should be they. They will have won the match. Okay, they will have won the match. The match will have been won by them. Reena will have washed the skirt. The skirt will have been washed by Reena. All right. All right. So with this, we finish off with the active and passive voice. I hope you have understood the rules and the various changes that we sought. Okay, now we will be moving on towards the quiz, जिसमें आपको और clarity होगी. Okay, let's start. All right. So for the quiz, what we will be doing is, now every question you will be given 1 minute. 1 minute means 60 seconds. Why am I giving you 1 minute? Because you see, your question paper of IEO, it has about 50 questions, and so you can imagine that you get more or less a minute to answer the questions. Now this 1 minute is the maximum that you should be taking for answering the question. Now suppose there could be two, three categories of students. First category is, suppose you answer the question within that 1 minute. So I would request you to fast forward the video and skip right to the answer. You should not be wasting your time. All right. Now the other students who are not able to answer the question in 1 minute, what you do, you don't skip to the answer. You pause the video and you write down your answer. All right, it is very important to answer each and every question because there is no negative marking. Here you see, for every incorrect answer, no points, because there is no negative marking in IEO. So it is important that you attempt all the questions. Now for a question of which you are not sure about the answer, now even here and even in the exam, if you are not sure about the answer and you maybe think that B option might be correct or C option might be correct, so you should in that case play your luck and play your mind and make a guess and still give an answer, because it is a win-win situation. Either you will get the marks for that question or you will get a 0, right? But if you don't attempt that question at all, then you are anyway getting a 0 in that, right? So it is good to attempt those questions, and even if you don't know all the answers, try to understand and take a guess. Okay, so this is for every correct answer 10 points. This is just for your own little game where you can try to maintain a notepad. So here you write the name of the chapter and then the question, and then if it is correct you can give yourself 10 points. If it is not correct, you mark it here. So it is important to see these questions, the ones which you mark incorrect. It is important to go back to them later and then see where you did the mistake. Alright, this is just for your reference. For every correct answer, you can give yourself 10 points. Alright, now let's start. Alright, so now we start off with the questions on active and passive voice. Here the first category of questions says choose the most suitable passive voice conversions of the given sentence. Given the sentence in active voice, choose the most suitable passive voice conversion. Let's see. Here the sentence says the manager will give you a ticket. Okay, let's see the sentences. A ticket will be given to you by the manager, or you will be given a ticket by the manager, and or C, both A and B. Pretty easy. Both of these are correct. Both A and B. Okay, here we saw you and him. Okay, we saw you and him. So we have to change this. You and him was seen by us. You and him were seen by us. You and him were seen. Okay, sorry. You and he were seen by us. You and him were seen by us. You and he seen by us. Now here, first of all, you see seen. Seen, the past participle is correct in all of these. Seen by us, seen by us, seen by us. Everywhere it is correct. Other thing that you have to focus on is this, that you and him, this pronoun him is going to change into he. So you and he were seen by us. All right, B. Okay, here we have give the order for 100 calendars. The options are let the order for 100 calendars be given. Order for 100 calendars should be given. Or both A and B and C or D, none of these. Okay, pretty easy. Both of these are correct. Let the order for 100 calendars be given, or order for 100 calendars should be given. Both of them are correct. In both of them, the subject has been changed into the object and the object has been changed into the subject. The past participle has been used. So both of these are correct. The correct answer is C, both A and B. Okay. Okay. Here, call the ambulance at once. The options are let the ambulance called at once, B, the ambulance should be called at once, or C, let the ambulance be called at once, or D, both B and C. Here also both B and C are correct. Why? Here C, call the ambulance at once. Ambulance is the object. Then here the ambulance becomes the subject. Let the ambulance, here also it becomes the subject. Past participle called, and the grammar is also correct. So both the answers D, both B and C, D is correct. Okay. Okay, next up we have Mrs. Smith looks after her children very well. Okay, so let's try changing this on our own. Mrs. Smith is the subject. Looks after is the verb. Her children, the object. Okay, so what do we have to do? We have to change the subject into the object and the object into the subject. Let's see. So the subject becomes her children. So her children are looks after. Looks after, we have to use the past participle. So her children are looked after very well by whom? By Mrs. Smith. Okay. Mrs. Smith is now the object. So the correct answer is C. Her children are looked after very well by Mrs. Smith. Okay, next. The news of ceasefire pleased the soldiers. Options are ceasefire pleased the soldiers were pleased with the news of ceasefire. C, the soldiers were pleased the news of ceasefire. Or D, all of the above. Now here you see soldiers. Soldiers is the object. If you change it to the subject, and pleased is already the V3 form. News of ceasefire will become the object. The soldiers were pleased by what? By the news of the ceasefire. Or here we have with the news of ceasefire. Okay, adding this preposition or connecting word, which is by, with, of. All right. The soldiers were pleased with the news of ceasefire. B. Okay, next up we have, had he broken his elbow in the accident? Okay, so here the options are, had been his elbow broken by him in the accident? Had his elbow be broken in the accident? Or had his elbow been broken in the accident? Or D, none of the above. Okay, so here pretty easy. Let's just form this on our own. Had he broken his elbow? He is the subject, broken is the verb, his elbow is the object. So had his elbow been broken in the accident? We don't really have to use by him. Why? Because by him this is already understood. We don't have to use this. We're just unnecessary adding up of words. No need. Correct answer is C. Had his elbow been broken in the accident? Yeah. Okay, here, don't misunderstand me. Options are, let me be not misunderstood, I shouldn't be misunderstood, you are not requested to misunderstand me, you be not misunderstand me. The correct answer here is B. I shouldn't be misunderstood. Okay. Me here, you see the change of pronouns? Me here becomes I because me is the object here and it becomes the subject here, so changes to I. Okay, next up we have show the papers. The options are let B show the papers, B papers be let shown, let the papers be shown. It is suggested let papers be shown. Pretty easy. The papers. Papers becomes the subject. How? See, let the papers be shown. And here shown, the V3 form, past participle of show. Alright. Okay, here we have nobody can predict future. The options are future cannot be predicted, B future could not be predicted by nobody, C future not to be predicted by somebody, or D both B and C. Now here nobody is the subject and future is what? Future is the object. Predict is the verb. So verb we will change it into the V3 from predicted. Future's object changes to the subject. So future cannot be predicted. We don't have to add on by nobody because it doesn't make sense. Alright, future cannot be predicted. It also means the same thing. So we don't have to add up unnecessarily by nobody. Alright, that just doesn't make sense. So A, future cannot be predicted. Alright. Okay, so here we have a passage. We have to fill it up with the correct passive voice. Let's see. On the occasion of Christmas, a roaring trade dashed by the shops has been made, makes, were made. Alright, so here Christmas, on the occasion of Christmas, a roaring trade dashed by the shops. So here, had been made by the shops. Talking in the past tense first of all. Okay, had been made by the shops. Okay, here, lots of gifts and presents dashed by people. Being purchased, were purchased, having purchased, or are purchased. Talking in the past tense, and also we use the V3 form, so were purchased. Lots of gifts were purchased by people. Lots of gifts and presents. Okay, next up. In the cold and foggy afternoon, Christmas carols dashed by children were sung, have been sung, is being sung, or were being sung. So in the cold and foggy afternoon, talking about an action that was, happening. So first of all, it is sung V3 form, which is given in all of these, and the past tense, so were being sung. All right. Others you see were sung. This is not a continuous one, just the past tense. Have been sung. Again, this is present perfect, incorrect. Is being sung, present continuous, which is also incorrect. Sorry, present perfect, continuous. Yes, present perfect, continuous. Correct answer is, however, D. Were being sung. Christmas carols were being sung by children. Okay, next up we have, there was fun and frolic in the air, but the unfeeling heart of Mr. Scrooge dashed by the warmth of the festival. Were untouched, have been untouched, was untouched, or being untouched. Now the heart of Mr. Scrooge, this is what? Third person. Okay, third person neutral, the unfeeling heart. So we use was untouched. Okay, was untouched. Untouched is what the past participle, and here was because it is an agreement with the subject, unfeeling heart of Mr. Scrooge. Okay. Okay, next up, 15th, yes. No gift dash by him for anyone. Was purchased, had been purchased, being purchased, or de-purchased. Okay, so here the correct answer is had been purchased. No gift had been purchased by him for anyone. Again, purchase, the past participle, had been, we're talking in the past perfect tense. No gift had been purchased by him for anyone. Okay, here he dashed by Fred, who had come to wish him Merry Christmas. He was rather irritated, has rather irritated, had rather been irritated, or had rather being irritated. Correct answer is A. He was rather irritated by Fred, who had come to wish him Merry Christmas. So again, this is what? This is the past tense. He was rather irritated by Fred, but come to wish him Merry Christmas. And irritated is the V3 form past participle. All right. Okay, next, Fred dashed to see the cold response of Mr. Scrooge. Fred shocked, Fred been shocked, Fred was shocked, Fred being shocked. Correct answer C. Fred was shocked. Was is the auxiliary verb, shocked, the V3 form. Fred was shocked to see the cold response of Mr. Scrooge. Okay. Okay, here we have soon 2 men entered the room. Money dashed by them for the needy so that Christmas dashed by these unfortunate people too. Money was collected, money had collected, been collected, or money was being collected. Pretty easy. It was a continuous action taking place in the past, so the money was being collected by them for the needy so that the Christmas dash. Okay. Here, money was being collected. Alright. Was collected, simple past, had collected, past perfect, been collected doesn't make sense. Also, collected is the V3 form. Okay, V3 form past participle which we use in passive voice. Alright, next up we have so that Christmas dashed by these unfortunate people too. Might be celebrated, may be celebrated, must celebrate, or be celebrated. Okay, this one is also pretty easy. The correct answer is might be celebrated. In passive voice, we don't use may. Never do we use may. Passive voice, it changes to may be celebrated. Sorry, might be celebrated. Christmas might be celebrated by these unfortunate people too. Alright. Celebrated is what? The V3 form. Here, must celebrate, celebrate. We do not use the base form. We use the past participle V3 form. Okay. Okay, next up, 20th. But Mr. Scrooge suggested that the poor dash to prisons or poorhouse. Okay, so Mr. Scrooge suggested that the poor being sent, shall be sent, should be sent to prisons or poorhouses. Okay, now here the correct answer is C. Mr. Scrooge suggested that the poor should be sent to prisons or poorhouses. Okay, so the correct answer is C. Should be sent. Sent is what? The V3 form. Alright, so with this we finish off the questions on active and passive voice. Alright, so
that's all for our class on voices. I hope you have understood the basic premise. Remember the rules so that you don't make any mistake in them. Alright, I will see you the next time. Thank you for watching.